Saturday mornings used to mean something. You'd wake up early, grab your favorite cereal, and settle in front of the television for hours of pure animated joy. Those cartoons shaped a generation, gave us catchphrases we still remember, and created characters that felt like old friends. Some of them never got the farewell they deserved. Here are 12 cartoons that deserve a comeback.
Dr. Forbes! They're already reporting the attack! The radar base has been...
Number 12. Jonny Quest. When Jonny Quest premiered on ABC in September 1964, it changed everything. This wasn't your typical Saturday morning fare. It was an adventure series with realistic animation, exotic locations, and genuine suspense. Jonny was an 11-year-old boy who traveled the world with his scientist father, Dr. Benton Quest. Alongside his bodyguard, Race Bannon, his best friend Haji, and his faithful dog Bandit, Jonny encountered everything from mummies to monsters to enemy agents. What set Jonny Quest apart was its commitment to quality. The animation was fluid and detailed, especially for television at the time. Hanna-Barbera spared no expense in the first season, creating action sequences that rivaled theatrical cartoons. The backgrounds were painted with care, showing jungles, deserts, underwater caverns, and secret laboratories in vivid detail. Each location felt real and lived in. The stories drew inspiration from classic pulp adventures and James Bond films. Episodes featured cutting-edge science fiction concepts alongside ancient mysteries. One week, the team might be investigating a sea monster in the Caribbean. The next, they'd be stopping a mad scientist from unleashing an army of robots. The combination of science, action, and mystery created something television hadn't really seen before. The music, composed by Hoyt Curtin, was thrilling and sophisticated. The opening theme alone, with its driving drums and brass, signaled that this was going to be an adventure worth watching. Each episode featured a score that enhanced the action and built suspense. It was cinematic, in a way most television animation wasn't. The show only lasted one season, producing 26 episodes before being canceled due to high production costs. But those episodes made an indelible mark. Jonny Quest proved that animated television could tell complex, exciting stories that appealed to both children and adults. It influenced countless adventure shows that came after it, from Scooby-Doo to later action cartoons of the 80s and 90s. A comeback for Jonny Quest could capture that same spirit of adventure while updating the animation and storytelling techniques. The core concept remains timeless. A boy and his friends traveling the world, solving mysteries, and facing danger. In an age when streaming services are hungry for content with built-in nostalgia, Jonny Quest seems like a perfect candidate for revival. The character designs could be modernized, the science updated to reflect current technology, but that essential sense of wonder and adventure would remain the same.
Should every freshwater fish in the country? Let's split before someone discovers the lake's missing.
Number 11. Hong Kong Phooey. Hong Kong Phooey burst onto Saturday morning television in 1974, riding the wave of martial arts popularity sparked by Bruce Lee films and the TV series Kung Fu. The premise was simple but brilliant. Penrod Pooch, mild-mannered janitor at the police station, transformed into Hong Kong Phooey, the #1 super guy whenever crime struck. The twist was that Hong Kong Phooey was hilariously incompetent. He'd crash through walls, get tangled in his own costume, and generally bumble his way through every situation. The real hero was his striped cat companion, Spot, who quietly did all the actual detective work while Phooey took the credit. Scatman Crothers voiced the title character, bringing warmth and charm to even the most ridiculous situations. Hong Kong Phooey only ran for 16 episodes, but those episodes packed in plenty of laughs and memorable moments. The theme song alone, with its irresistible Hong Kong Phooey #1 super guy chant, became instantly iconic. The show perfectly captured the comedic potential of a well-meaning but clumsy superhero. A modern Hong Kong Phooey could play with that same formula while adding more depth to the supporting characters. Spot deserves his moment in the spotlight. The martial arts sequences could be beautifully animated with today's techniques, and the core message that enthusiasm and good intentions matter, even when you're not the most skilled, remains relevant.
You build a great car, Zumarini, but if we don't get a driver soon, it's not going to get to the starting line. Well,
Number 10. The Great Grape Ape. Standing over 40 feet tall and colored bright purple, the Great Grape Ape was impossible to miss. This gentle giant debuted in 1975 as part of the Tom and Jerry / Grape Ape show. Grape Ape traveled with his best friend and manager, Beagle, getting into accidental mischief wherever they went. Grape Ape's appeal lay in his simplicity. He was essentially a big, sweet-natured child in the body of a massive ape. He didn't mean to knock down buildings or cause chaos. He just didn't understand his own strength. His catchphrase, Grape Ape, delivered in a deep, friendly voice by Bob Holt, became instantly recognizable. Kids loved him because he was lovable and funny. Adults appreciated the gentle humor of watching this oversized character try to navigate a world built for normal-sized people. The show produced only 16 episodes across 2 seasons. Grape Ape later appeared in other Hanna-Barbera productions like Laugh Olympics and Yogi's Space Race, but he never got his own dedicated series again. That's a shame, because the character had real charm and plenty of storytelling potential. A new Great Grape Ape series could explore themes of acceptance and friendship. Grape Ape's size made him different, but his heart made him special. With modern animation, the sight gags could be even more elaborate. And there's something refreshing about a character who's just genuinely good-natured, without cynicism or snark. Number 9. Captain Caveman and the Teen Angels. Captain Caveman combined 2 popular formulas, mystery-solving teenagers and a caveman superhero, into one wonderfully weird package. The show premiered in 1977 as part of Scooby's All-Star Laugh Olympics before getting its own standalone series. The premise was delightfully absurd. 3 teenage girls, Dee Dee, Brenda, and Taffy, discovered a caveman frozen in a block of ice and thawed him out. Captain Caveman, with his club that let him fly and his impossibly spacious beard that contained every tool imaginable, helped them solve mysteries. Mel Blanc voiced Captain Caveman with manic energy, giving him a distinctive yell and personality. Unlike Scooby-Doo's more cowardly approach, Cavey charged headfirst into danger, usually creating more chaos than he solved. The Teen Angels provided the actual detective work, while Caveman provided the muscle and the laughs. The show ran for 40 episodes across 2 seasons. It perfectly captured the late 70s Saturday morning aesthetic. Bright colors, simple but effective animation, and stories that mixed humor with just enough mystery to keep kids engaged. The chemistry between the 4 main characters gave the show its heart. A Captain Caveman comeback could lean into the fish-out-of-water comedy. Here's a prehistoric man trying to understand modern technology and social customs. The Teen Angels could be updated for contemporary times while maintaining their distinct personalities. And Caveman himself remains a brilliant comic creation. Part superhero, part disaster waiting to happen, all heart.
When criminals in this world appear and break the laws that they...
Number 8. Underdog. There's no need to fear. Underdog is here. Those words launched one of the most beloved superhero parodies in cartoon history. Underdog premiered in October 1964 and ran until 1967, producing 62 episodes with 124 segments. The show continued in syndication until 1973. It followed a humble shoeshine boy who transformed into the superhero Underdog to rescue his sweetheart, Sweet Polly Purebred, from various villains. Created by W. Watts Biggers and starring the voice of Wally Cox, Underdog was gentle satire wrapped in adventure. The character spoke only in rhyme, delivering lines like, "When Polly's in trouble, I am not slow, so it's hip, 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 and away I go." This wasn't just a gimmick. it became part of Underdog's charm. The rhymes were clever and added a playful rhythm to every episode. The villains had wonderfully ridiculous names like Simon Bar Sinister and Riff Raff. Simon Bar Sinister was a mad scientist with schemes to take over the world. Riff Raff was a gangster dog who led the criminal underground. Each villain was distinctive and memorable, with their own personality quirks and motivations. The voice actors brought them to life with enthusiasm, making even the most absurd plots entertaining. The animation might have been limited, but the writing was sharp and funny. Episodes were broken into 4-part serials with cliffhangers that kept kids coming back. The format allowed for more complex storytelling than typical cartoon shorts. Underdog would face seemingly impossible odds, get knocked down, take his Underdog super energy pill, and come back stronger than ever. What made Underdog special was its heart. Unlike many superhero parodies that mock the genre, Underdog genuinely loved superheroes while poking fun at their conventions. Underdog wasn't the strongest or the fastest, but he always came through when it mattered. He was an everyman hero, which made him relatable. His devotion to Sweet Polly was sincere, even when the damsel in distress formula became repetitive. There was genuine sweetness beneath the satire. The show has been revived before, including a live-action film in 2007 that missed the mark entirely. But a new animated series could capture the charm of the original. The rhyming dialogue, the colorful villains, the romance between Underdog and Polly, all of it could work beautifully with modern animation and sharper writing. Contemporary audiences appreciate both superhero action and clever parody. Underdog deserves another chance to prove that even an unlikely hero can save the day.
Tennessee, we don't know anything about plumbing.
Nonsense, Chumley. There's nothing to it. Let's go.
Number 7. Tennessee Tuxedo and His Tales. Tennessee Tuxedo was edutainment before that word existed. This 1963 series from Total Television combined slapstick comedy with actual educational content. Tennessee Tuxedo was a penguin living at the Megapolis Zoo, along with his walrus friend Chumley. Each episode saw Tennessee coming up with elaborate schemes to improve life at the zoo, usually requiring them to learn something about science, history, or how things work. That's where Phineas J. Whoopi, the man with all the answers, came in. Whoopi would explain concepts using his 3-dimensional blackboard, teaching kids about everything from how telephones work to the principles of flight. Don Adams voiced Tennessee with perfect comic timing, making the character endearing even when his plans went wrong. The show ran for 70 episodes across 3 seasons. It was sponsored by General Mills, which meant commercials featuring characters like the Trix Rabbit and Lucky the Leprechaun. But the show itself had real educational value mixed with genuine humor. Tennessee was ambitious and optimistic, never giving up even when the zoo's keeper, Stanley Livingston, tried to stop his schemes. A new Tennessee Tuxedo could embrace that same educational mission while updating the science and technology being taught. Kids still need to learn how things work, and doing it through the adventures of a scheming penguin and his gentle walrus friend seems like a winning formula. Plus, the 3-dimensional blackboard could be spectacular with modern animation techniques.
Karate, we're going to pay Miss Judy Jitsu a little visit.
We are?
Number 6. Batfink. Batfink flew into our hearts in 1966 with his supersonic sonar radar and wings of steel. This 5-minute comedy series produced 100 episodes, each one a rapid-fire parody of superheroes and spy thrillers. Batfink battled ridiculous villains with names like Hugo A. Go-Go, Judy Jitsu, and Skinny Minnie. His faithful sidekick Karate was always ready with a chop, even if it didn't help much. What made Batfink memorable was its speed and absurdity. Episodes moved at a breakneck pace, cramming jokes and action into 5 minutes. Batfink's wings of steel could deflect anything, leading to his catchphrase, "My wings are like a shield of steel," usually delivered right before something bounced harmlessly off them. The animation was limited, typical for the era, but the voice work by Frank Buxton and Len Maxwell elevated the material. The show aired as part of various Saturday morning blocks throughout the late 60s and early 70s. It was never the main attraction, but it developed a devoted following. Kids loved the silliness and the action. Adults appreciated the speed and the subtle humor. A Batfink revival could work as either a full-length series or as bite-sized episodes for streaming. The parody elements could be updated to reflect modern superhero movies while maintaining that rapid-fire comedy style. Batfink's optimistic incompetence, he means well even when his detective work goes nowhere, makes him an endearing character worth bringing back. Number 5. King Leonardo and his short subjects. King Leonardo might not have the name recognition of other total television productions like Underdog, but this 1960 series was a pioneer in its own right. It was one of the first Saturday morning cartoons produced specifically for that time slot. King Leonardo was a lion who ruled the kingdom of Bongo Congo, assisted by his friend Odie Cologne, a skunk. The show had several segments. The main storyline followed Leonardo's attempts to govern his kingdom while dealing with threats from Biggie Rat and his sidekick, Itchy Brother. Other segments included Tutor Turtle, about a turtle who could travel through time with help from Mr. Wizard the Lizard, and The Hunter, featuring a befuddled fox trying to catch his prey. King Leonardo ran for 2 seasons with 65 episodes. The animation was crude by modern standards, but the voice work was excellent, featuring talents like Jackson Beck and Alan Swift. The writing mixed political satire with slapstick comedy in ways that children could enjoy while adults caught the deeper humor. This show deserves a comeback because it represented television animation at a crucial turning point. It proved that Saturday morning cartoons could be entertaining and successful. A modern King Leonardo could embrace that satirical edge while telling stories about leadership, friendship, and standing up to bullies. The various segments could introduce new characters while maintaining the classic ones.
Golly, it's so realistic. I not only heard the ocean, I think I've...
Number 4. Josie and the Pussycats. Josie and the Pussycats hit CBS in 1970, bringing rock and roll, mystery solving, and girl power to Saturday morning television. Based on the Archie Comics characters, the show followed an all-girl rock band, Josie, Valerie, and Melody, as they toured the world with their manager Alexander Cabot III, his conniving sister Alexandra, and their cat Sebastian. Somehow, every stop on their tour involved a mystery that needed solving. The show was groundbreaking in ways people don't always remember. Valerie was one of the first black main characters in a Saturday morning cartoon, voiced by Barbara Perriott. This was significant representation at a time when most animated shows featured predominantly white casts. Valerie wasn't a sidekick or comic relief. She was a full member of the band, playing bass and contributing equally to solving mysteries. The music was catchy and well-produced, with real effort put into the songs. Unlike some Saturday morning cartoons that featured throwaway music, Josie and the Pussycats had actual musicians performing. The songs were released on albums and became genuinely popular. Tracks like Longtail Kitty and Roadrunner had the sound of authentic, early 70s pop rock. You could imagine these songs on the radio alongside other hits of the era. The mysteries were fun without being too scary, and the characters had distinct personalities that gave them depth. Josie was the level-headed leader. Valerie was the smart, capable one who often figured out the clues first. Melody was ditzy but sweet, with a good heart. Alexandra Cabot provided conflict and comedy as she tried to sabotage the band out of jealousy. Alexander was vain but ultimately harmless. Even Sebastian the cat had personality, often being the one to stumble into clues or create complications. Josie and the Pussycats ran for 16 episodes before getting a space-themed sequel, Josie and the Pussycats in Outer Space, which added another 16 episodes. The original series holds up remarkably well. The animation was solid for Hanna-Barbera standards, the voice acting was strong, and the mix of music and mystery created an appealing combination. The show balanced adventure, humor, and genuine girl group vibes in ways that felt ahead of its time. A new Josie and the Pussycats could emphasize the band's music even more, with original songs and performances that could compete with contemporary pop music. The diversity of the cast could be celebrated and expanded, adding more depth to each character's background and personality. And the mystery-solving format still works. Bands do travel to new places, and adventures could follow. With the right creative team, Josie and the Pussycats could find a whole new generation of fans while honoring what made the original special.
Something has roused a swamp quadrant, and that's trouble.
Number 3, the Herculoids. The Herculoids took Saturday morning viewers to the distant planet Amzot in 1967. This Hanna-Barbera series featured King Xandor, his wife Tara, and their son Dorno defending their planet with the help of 5 powerful creatures: Zoc the flying dragon, Igu the rock ape, Tundro the rhino-like beast, and Gloop and Gleep, 2 shape-shifting blobs. What set the Herculoids apart was its combination of science fiction and fantasy with almost no dialogue. Episodes consisted mainly of action. Alien invaders would attack, and the Herculoids would defend their planet using their unique abilities. The designs were creative and memorable. Zoc shot laser beams from his eyes and tail. Igu could throw boulders. Tundro shot explosive rocks from his horn. Gloop and Gleep could stretch into any shape. The original series ran for 18 episodes before being revived in the early 80s for 11 more episodes. The concept was simple enough for young children to follow, but the action and creature designs appealed to older kids too. The show felt different from other Hanna-Barbera productions. More serious, more action-oriented, almost like animated pulp science fiction. A Herculoids comeback could lean into that science fiction aesthetic. With modern animation, the creatures could look spectacular. The family at the center of the show, Xandor, Tara, and Dorno, provided an emotional anchor, and the planet Amzot could be developed into a rich, detailed world worth exploring across multiple episodes.
What's going on down there? Must be that dead-blasted raven.
Number 2, the Funky Phantom. The Funky Phantom debuted on ABC in 1971, giving Hanna-Barbera another entry in the mystery-solving cartoon genre they'd perfected with Scooby-Doo. The twist here was that the teenage detectives, Skip, April, and Augie, had help from Mudsie, a Revolutionary War-era ghost, and his cat Boo. Mudsie and Boo had been trapped in a grandfather clock since 1776, freed when the teens took shelter from a storm in their old house. Mudsie spoke in 18th century language, often confusing modern situations with his colonial-era understanding. The cat, Boo, was cowardly but loyal. The 3 teenagers provided the usual Saturday morning demographic representation, but the addition of a ghost from America's founding gave the show a unique hook. Every episode featured Mudsie commenting on how much the world had changed since his time. The Funky Phantom produced 17 episodes in its single season. While it never achieved the popularity of Scooby-Doo, it had its own charm. The historical angle made it educational in subtle ways. Mudsie's fish-out-of-water moments provided comedy. And the mysteries, while formulaic, were entertaining enough to keep kids engaged. This show deserves another look because the concept has untapped potential. A ghost from the Revolutionary War era experiencing modern America could provide endless comedy and commentary. The original series barely scratched the surface of what you could do with that premise. A contemporary Funky Phantom could add more historical depth while maintaining the fun mystery-solving format.
Yeah, the giggling hot rod should have a good trip tomorrow. If nothing goes wrong, what could...
Number 1, Speed Buggy. Speed Buggy raced onto CBS in 1973, bringing the Scooby-Doo formula to the world of automobiles. A group of teenage drivers, Debbie, Mark, and Tinker, raced around the country in their sentient dune buggy, Speed Buggy, who could talk, think, and get himself into trouble. Like Scooby-Doo, Speed Buggy had a distinctive voice provided by Mel Blanc, full of stutters and sound effects. The show mixed racing action with mystery-solving adventures. Each episode followed a similar pattern. The gang would arrive somewhere for a race, discover a mystery that needed solving, and Speed Buggy would help them crack the case. The mysteries often involved sabotage, stolen technology, or supernatural hoaxes. Speed Buggy himself was endearing, enthusiastic but sometimes scared, loyal to his friends, and always ready for action despite his fears. The series ran for 16 episodes, later appearing in crossover shows like Laugh Olympics alongside other Hanna-Barbera characters. Speed Buggy represented peak Saturday morning formula: take a successful concept, add a unique element, and produce something that felt both familiar and fresh. The racing sequences added action, and Speed Buggy's personality gave the show heart. A new Speed Buggy could embrace modern car culture while maintaining that classic personality. Electric vehicles, autonomous driving technology, extreme sports, all of these could be incorporated into a contemporary version. But the core concept of a talking car helping his teenage friends solve mysteries remains as charming now as it was in 1973. Speed Buggy deserves to race again. These 12 cartoons represent a golden age of Saturday morning television. They weren't trying to teach moral lessons or sell movie tickets. They existed to entertain, to make kids laugh, and to give us characters we'd remember decades later. Some of them ran for years, others for just a single season. But each one left its mark on those of us who watched. The beauty of these shows was their simplicity. They understood their audience and delivered exactly what that audience wanted: adventure, comedy, memorable characters, and enough variety to keep things interesting. They didn't need complex mythology or serialized storytelling. Each episode stood on its own, which meant you could jump in anywhere and immediately understand what was happening. Bringing any of these shows back wouldn't be about recreating the past. Animation has evolved. Storytelling techniques have changed. Audiences expect more depth and nuance than Saturday morning cartoons of the 60s and 70s typically provided. But the core concepts behind these shows remain strong. A boy adventurer exploring the world, a bumbling superhero with a good heart, a gentle giant trying to find his place, a caveman superhero helping teenage detectives. These ideas can work in any era. What would need to change is the execution. Modern animation allows for more fluid movement, more detailed backgrounds, more expressive characters. Contemporary writing could add emotional depth while maintaining the humor and action. Diverse creative teams could bring fresh perspectives to these classic properties. The technology exists to make these shows look and sound better than ever before. What should stay the same is the spirit. These were shows that believed entertainment didn't need to be cynical or dark. They could be silly and still be worthwhile. They could be simple and still be memorable. They celebrated imagination, friendship, bravery, and kindness. Those values don't go out of style. Saturday mornings aren't what they used to be. Kids today have endless streaming options, video games, and 100 other ways to spend their time. But that doesn't mean there isn't room for shows like these. Nostalgia is powerful, and parents who grew up watching these cartoons would love to share them with their own children. And maybe, just maybe, a new generation of kids could discover that a giant purple ape or a rhyming superhero dog can still make them smile. If you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more nostalgic looks at the cartoons and shows that shaped our childhoods. Which of these cartoons would you most want to see make a comeback? Did we miss any of your favorites? Let us know in the comments below. And remember, those Saturday mornings may be gone, but the memories remain. Thanks for watching.